microphone. There's a magnet. Let's just get this loaded up and everything put proper before come on. All right, so we got that. We got this established. Doesn't matter. It's there. There we go. That's showing. I don't want that in there. That's okay to have SilverThorn and that. All right, then let's see if I can do this. I see a little magnet right here. Let's see if I actually can get the microphone that fell down. Okay. Let's see if I actually, does it work? It's not that strong of a magnet. It's not like strong enough, I don't think, to go through my shirt. Let's see. Does it? Will it hold it? Nope. Maybe. Yes. Nope. We'll leave that there. Still got a magnet. All right. Gotta make sure we're good on YouTube. I'll make sure. I'll do my YouTube thing. I'm on time. Right, here we go. It should say live. Yep, there it is. There. You could see. It should say live. Yep. We got SilverThorn. There. You can see. It should say live. Turn it down. All right, welcome. All right, here we go. Welcome to our podcast. Tonight we have Drew Thorn from SilverThorn Reserve. Let us know what you're sipping on and where you're from. Super chats are appreciated. There we go. Got that working. Everything's working. Hey, everybody. We start at 8:30. And let me put this up here. And I think we have someone coming in. Nope, not yet. Let me put that there. Make sure that's not in there. It's not in there there. It's not in there there. All right. So we're good. Got the meeting going. One person. All right. So we have our sponsors tonight. Our sponsors, we're going to go through our sponsors real quick. We've got Middle West Spirits. We just did a podcast live down at Middle West Spirits in Columbus, Ohio at their new 80,000 foot. Let's see. Hey, Kirk. There's a chance sipping on Maker's Mark. Replying. There you go. Why is that? Why do I have notes up? Cancel. Done. Complete. Boom. Close that up. All right. What just happened there? Oh, come on. God. Don't show this again. This meeting is being transcribed. Okay. Since when is where does the meeting get oh my gosh. Help me, Lord. All right. So Midwest Spirits in Columbus, Ohio. We just were down there for a podcast. Check out our live on Facebook and on YouTube. I got to still get it up in different places, and it will be loading on audio next week while I'm on vacation. So look for that podcast on audio for Middle West Spirits in Columbus, Ohio, and find out everything. Steve down there showed us around. It was a fantastic time. But we've got the old elk stuff was heavy there, and they're responsible at Middle West Spirits for Old Elk. So Middle West Spirits in Columbus, Ohio, they've got their craft distillery and their service bar restaurant. Check it out. And if you stop by and see them, just tell them that you heard about it on the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. It's well worth it. And then we've got Whiskey Thief Distilling Company in Frankfurt and in the Louisville, Nulu area. The Nulu area is their new tasting room. Oh, it's not so new anymore. It's great. And Whiskey Thief has, it's basically a barrel pick all day, every day at both places. On the farm where the distillery is, they've got, on the weekends, they've got live music. They've got a food truck out there. They're open 7 days a week. So it's 7 days a week, every day, all day. There is a barrel pick. And for the price of the mission, you get there and they're going to sample right into your tasting glass, right in a thief, right out of the barrel. 5 different bourbons for you to taste from, all different barrels. There could be wheat bourbon, there could be rye bourbons, there can be 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, there could be 4-year-old bourbon, plus also there's usually a rye there. The rye's same thing. You basically could taste them all. And if you like one, you can purchase a bottle and fill your own right there with the Whiskey Thief straight into the bottle. Fantastic experience. They're like us, great people, great staff, great food, great music. They are uncut and unfiltered, just like the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Then we have Royce Neely, Neely Family Reserve has just come on as our newest sponsor. The Neely, they've just introduced, they've got their old jet line. They've got their family, Neely Family Reserve, and it's just a fantastic experience. And as we get further and going, it's a must stop on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. And we are happy to have Royce and Rebecca part of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys again. So Neely Family Distillery, can't wait to tell you about their 3-chamber pot still coming up. And then last but not least is Alan Bishop. If you have Ghosts, You Have Everything podcast, check that out. It's spirits industry meeting the spiritual world. Great podcast. Me and Roxy have been on it. So many people in the industry have been on it. Fantastic. And then One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute, which Alan is running, and it answers all your questions on whether you're a home distiller, whether you're a commercial distiller. It doesn't matter. His distilling knowledge is unlike any other. So check out One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on YouTube. All right, so that does it for us, and we're ready to go. So CT should be joining us soon. It's 8:15. We got CT coming in. We've got Drew coming in. We'll see. And we've got SilverThorn tonight. A bunch of samples off here, but I'm excited, really, seriously. We'll see what happens, and I can't wait. And this should be fun. This is my Middle West Spirit, Crystal Glen. Very excited about that. And I know that Ryan has a Scotchy Bourbon Boys, but Steve Frederick is about to get one also. So this should be a lot of fun between Middle West Spirits and what we're doing with Neely and what we're doing with Whiskey Thief. This is just like no other. It's beyond. These are my favorite places to go when I go down to Kentucky and see. I mean, Royce and Rebecca since 2020 has been, when we met her first, has been really nothing but fantastic. And we're so excited to become part of the family. So here we go. I mean, we're ready to go. It goes live in 13 minutes, but we're waiting for CT to come in. It looks like I got sound on everything. How's it going? Comebacks. They are quick comebacks in the comments. Drinking Old Elk tonight. A weeder. That's awesome. I got a special bottle that we can't even talk about on the podcast. Did you watch the podcast, Kirk? Oh, let's see. Did we get, oh, what did I just do? Okay, come on back. Why did I do that? All right, there we go. I thought maybe I didn't have any more. Okay, there's no whatever. I was just wondering if you watched the podcast on Saturday. When we went live on Saturday, I couldn't do anything. And oh, you did watch. I couldn't see when we're live. Both my cameras are being. I'm filming with both my cameras. One's doing a Facebook, one's doing a YouTube, and I have no idea who's watching or whatnot. We just kind of go through the motions on those days. So I've got this SilverThorn Reserve 10-year. I have not tried it at all. What are where are there even subtitles? I didn't even know there was subtitles. All of a sudden something came up. So there's subtitles on Facebook in Spanish. Something went wacko. That's for sure. Well, that's good. If it's in Spanish, are you sure it's keep a few Old Elk on the bar? Yeah, but I can't wait to really see what they're going to be doing with that Old Elk now that it's at Thanks, Steve. It's good to know. Like I said, I had no idea who's watching. Milkshake, Steve said, released in Wisconsin, and then I think my brother-in-law is going to go over to Costco in Grafton and pick one up, and then my daughter's going to be there next week, and she's going to bring it to me up in Michigan. So I'll have. So John, I'm going to have the first bookers that I have to wait till the 18th to do it, and then I'm going to have the second bookers next week. So I'm going to get the second before I get the first. It's like, does anybody I don't know if anybody watches if anybody watches women's NBA, but although what's been going on with Caitlin Clark and then her teammate it's epic. I mean, I haven't seen much. Now the one that John picked up was 79, but Milkshake is the one that Steve's picking up, and in Wisconsin it's 88. So I mean, here it's 99, and it's not even dropping yet. All right, who do we got? Okay, let's see. We got someone coming in. All right, I will do this for participants. CT is coming in. Good. Let's go off of CT. Okay. All right. Can you hear me? I can hear you. Just can't see you. You got to take over you have to take over the cast. Where are you? Oh, you are home. I thought you were going to be somewhere tonight. No. Where were you with Rebecca last night that you did a Rebecca?
I wasn't anywhere with Rebecca. That was a video from before.
Okay. How you?
Good.
Did you get we won't say anything about the secret, but did you get the secret?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actual, which is kind of cool. Yes, I do need the grave digger, Steve. The pre-chat tonight is pretty good. Did you see what the newest batch of Booker's is? The O2?
I did not.
It's milkshake. Who doesn't have to have a Booker's called milkshake? And it released in Wisconsin, so it's $88 at Costco in Wisconsin. So I have my brother-in-law going to pick that up, and then next week my daughter's going to be there, and then she's coming to Michigan, so she's bringing the milkshake up. I got John Ritt, he bought it. It was $79.99 at Costco in Illinois. So he picked me up the first batch, which was, oh my gosh, I forget the name of the first batch. What was it? Anyways, I'm going to get the second batch before I get the first batch because I won't get my first batch because I'll see John on the 18th. You know, we're just going to Illinois for the 18th and 19th, and I'm trying to hook up to go to Thornton with and see Ari there like we did last time. And so we're gonna do some bourbon hunting in Chicago, and then try and go get to Thornton. I sent a message to him. But there's also another one called, is it Blue Acres or Gold? Oh, it's something. Kirk CT's dog needs to be the mascot for the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. He is. It's Luca. I mean,
he's around here somewhere.
The only if you would have named him Uncle Nearest, that would have been the only way to make it any worse.
Yeah. Well, again, the funny story there, Kirk, if you don't know, is my son. I wanted to name him Whiskey, and my son, about 3.5 years ago, said, "No, Dad, we're not naming the dog after Whiskey." And I said, "All right, so what are you naming him?" And he came up with Luca, and I'm like, "You literally named him after a distillery." So, but he was naming him after an NBA basketball player, not knowing that there was a distillery with that same name. So, pretty funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Whiskey Acres is the one John said that's over there that you're talking about.
Yeah, Whiskey Acres. All right, I'm gonna do this. It's okay to have a little cord here, isn't it?
Yes, the kid always wins is a fact. Try to keep everybody happy.
You know what?
Luca, come here. See what's happening, John? I hope things are well in the Chicago area.
Let's see what's going on here. Sure. Mine doesn't. What is going on?
There he is. Come here, Luke. You gonna tell everybody hi? Okay. Say hi, everybody. Yeah. Now you're gonna go lay down and pout.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways.
His dad's not gonna spend all.
There he is. I gotta see it. I got dead battery alert, so I gotta plug this in. We'll do it like that, and I gotta get it into one of these over here. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. There we go.
Oh, Lizen, you're getting ready to go down to the moonshine tasting table of the world, it sounds like then. So you're getting ready to hit the trail down in Tennessee.
All right, there we go.
Hey, Drew, how are you?
Doing well. How's it going today?
Good.
Hey.
So are you live from the Maryland, Baltimore? Where are you at exactly?
Yeah, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. So I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. A lot of people don't know that, but just right on the edge of Washington, D.C. line, and then work and operate out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you for making it. This is it's funny because I think we've been working on this seems like for months and months. And it finally is coming together, and it's like anything when you plan things 2 and 3 months in advance and everybody thinks, oh, that's got to be great. It is not always great. It takes a lot because there's always things that happen that come up. You have things, we have things.
All right.
Luke, would you come here?
That's right. Luca is his is his mascot, our mascot. He comes on at least once a podcast, right?
Yeah, and he's a bird dog, so he sits in the other room that's adjacent to the one I'm in, and he stares out the window and barks at the birds.
Yeah.
I mean,
Rachel thought it would be a great idea to put bird feeders on every tree she can find. I'm gonna shut this door off, and that way the birds are right up by the window, which even makes it better.
Yeah. Just taunting the dog.
Yeah, she loves it because she gets to watch the birds, and we've got a ton of birds around here. So she's like, "Oh, it's awesome," and I'm like, "It is until it's not."
So where are you located?
So I am in between Dayton and Columbus. I literally live right. I-70 is right down the street. I'm almost exactly in between both. Jeff is up, or Tiny's up in Canton. So we're about, what are we, 2 hours and 20 minutes apart from each other?
Yeah, that's about it. But yeah.
Because we have a meeting spot when we have to share stuff, for the podcast. We meet at a Cracker Barrel that's about as close to halfway as possible.
There you go.
Yeah, and it opens early enough on a weekday that we both can leave early, get there, and then get to work in time.
Yeah. Yeah, we are committed that ridiculously bad that we have met at that Cracker Barrel at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning and made it to work afterwards just to exchange bottles that we need for podcasts. So,
right. You've got the system down.
Well, we prefer to have for this one, that's where you can either send it or we meet someplace like actually. We're not just trading off bottles. So
yeah, and thank you again, Drew, for sending the bottles. You did not have to send full bottles. We would have gladly accepted samples, and but it is nice to be able to not only try them, but the one thing that we're always big about is sharing and promoting. So people come over, and Jeff's the same way at his house. If people come over and they see something and it's like, yeah, try it, drink it, see what you think, because unfortunately your product isn't in Ohio yet. So I think for people wanting it, they're going to have to buy it directly through your website, which we'll talk about a little bit later here. So
sure. Yeah, we are only in Maryland and Washington, D.C. as far as actual retail stores go. And then the whole rest of the country is online.
Very cool.
At the moment.
Well, this is a super geeky moment for me. I ain't going to lie, because I've only been in the bourbon world. I didn't drink. I'm almost 51, and I never drank till I was about 45. Occasional beer, but I despise bourbon. I got into it. Met Jeff about 4 years ago at an event that we're actually doing here next month. And my go-to for the longest time was the brand you were with. And with Sagamore, it was one of those that I found in Kentucky. I fell in love with it. It was just so good. It hit my palate right. And I brought it back, and it's just like that. I brought it back. It wasn't in Ohio. People would drink it, and they're like, oh, my God, what is that? And we always called the double oak the Milky Way because it tastes like a Milky Way. And one of the first things that Jeff and I did, like we did a Christmas tree, like a countdown, like an advent calendar, and I sent it to him and some of the other guys. And one of the ones in there was that double oak, and everybody had that one picked as one of their favorites by far. So
nice.
It's cool to finally get to meet the guy who was involved in making that happen, because that was by far one of my favorite things starting out in this industry.
Right on. Well, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it, and equally happy to hear that you enjoyed what we were doing at Sagamore. They're still doing great things, and I think will only be getting better. They have lots of really high quality whiskey in their barns that is just coming of like a higher age point, and so I think the next 5 years should have a lot of good stuff coming out of Sagamore as well.
Nice. Well, Jeff, you want to get started? It's 8:32. We'll get the podcast started.
Yeah, we can. I just want to tell you, CT didn't. He told that story, but he didn't want to embarrass me. Because
intentionally I didn't bring it up.
So I'll be take it one step further. That it was blind. Okay, so I had no idea. There was no brand, no nothing. It was just all blind, and we did it, and we came down, and everybody kind of was voting for which one, and that particular. I'm not a huge fan of rye. Now, since then, I understand why I wasn't a huge fan of rye, and then why I like what you put out, because barrel strength or a higher proof rye, I actually do like. And it's when they proof it down, some of those earthy flavors are off. There's a lot of off notes in it when it gets proofed down. And I was able to figure that out at least, but that was one of the first ryes that I had to say that I liked. Up until that point, I was just staying away, kind of trying them, not having really great experiences. So that was like the first time that I was brought into the world of rye, and it was something that I liked to make me go out and find more.
Drew, did you ever watch the Simpsons?
I did.
And what's his name? The boss. When he sits there.
Mr.
Was me the whole time he was. I was like, excellent. Because everybody was picking, I think it was bottle number 6, so we only knew the bottle number.
Was his?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's like, 6 is my favorite. And we're going through it. And I'm like, excellent.
What was his sidekick? Smithers or Withers? Smithers.
We played this. Me with real gorilla chest.
All right, so we could get it started. We're on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Everybody got the pregame for it, but the way we start when we record the audio and start the podcast officially, I play really quick for about 40 seconds an ad that you won't hear because it's being recorded just directly for the audio, and then you'll hear our theme song, and that'll just bring us in right straight into the podcast. Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to start it right now.
It's that awkward silence.
Drinking 30, sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, but it's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. And we talk some shit, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, with the Scotchy Bourbon boys, raising the hell and making some noise. Yeah, with the Scotchy Bourbon boys, we really have fun and we hope you enjoy. We really have fun.
All right. Welcome back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Big podcast tonight. We have Drew Thorn from SilverThorn joining us. Welcome, Drew.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
And we also have CT in the house tonight. You know, you could talk for the audio.
I'm gonna let Drew do it. I'm gonna let him. I didn't want to, I'm gonna let
You were.
Drew introduce himself, and we'll just pause.
You were just pointing like that girl basketball player the other night.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that girl's. I wouldn't mess with that girl.
Nope.
So Sophia, is it Sophia? Whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
She's legit.
So anyways, speaking of legit, we're here. I mean, honestly, Drew, one of the things that, your journey is, I think a lot of people want to know your journey of how you got here. And, you were at one brand and then you came to this brand. And, when you read about it, you're very, what would you say, on this brand, you're super focused on just the whole product and what's going in and the blends and everything that you're doing and how you're blending. And just, maybe for everybody, talk about how you started beforehand, before it all, and what got you into whiskey, and then how it evolved to where we are tonight.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think I started in alcohol production and product development. Honestly, probably a little before I should have. But it was back in college. I started brewing, and so I was kind of in the first wave of craft beer back in the mid '90s, and really enjoyed this as a hobby. I was a chemical engineering major at the time, and this was a way to both use my science background and as a creative outlet, and I just really enjoyed it. So I took that to a quasi pro level and got hired as a brewer at a brew pub in Maryland where I lived, and did that for a couple of years and really just got my feet wet, literally. It was a lot of cleaning out mash tuns and scooping spent grain and cleaning kegs and that basic level. But I loved it and pursued it further. And after I finished school, I ultimately took a role with Flying Dog Brewery. And they were Denver based, and they were in the process of relocating to a new facility they had acquired in Maryland. Which was good timing for me. So I joined with them back in, I think it was 2006, and was with them for almost a decade, about 9 years. And at that point, after, I was in kind of senior management there, and I was offered a role with this new startup. It was going to be the biggest, not quite the first, but the largest distilling operation in Maryland at the time. And I was pretty excited about it. So I worked with that team. I came in it was a big shift. So I went from a larger national brewery operation to a startup with 3 people, working up business plans and spreadsheets and getting started on construction and those things. From there, this was Sagamore Spirit at the time. It was October 2015, and the distillery hadn't been built yet. Construction hadn't even started. It was really ground floor opportunity. And I loved it. I jumped right in. From there, we set up a small skeleton team, built the distillery in Baltimore City, commissioned the distillery, and started distilling in April 2017. So it was about a 2-year process, an 18-month process to build the distillery and actually commission it and start distilling. from there, we grew pretty rapidly. My role at the time, I was overseeing all of the production operations. We added to the team, did that initial scaling process in a pretty measured way. Like quality came first always, and so we didn't want to outscale our ability to maintain quality. So we took our time in the first year of production for sure. But yeah, it was a great opportunity to really take everything that's transferable from brewing into whiskey and start a brand from scratch, take that brand national and then ultimately international. And I was there for almost a decade and ultimately was the CEO. And then the owner decided they wanted to sell the distillery, which I helped facilitate. The new owners are amazing. It's kind of what you dream of when you sell your baby, is that it will be left to carry on as it had. So like the whole team was kept in place. The very little changes, if any. And really, they just came in with a very supportive mindset. So, but at that point, I had gotten to a stage where I was kind of ready for my next chapter. I'd been about 10 years in, seen it from startup to international, grew it from 3 people to 90 plus. And decided I was ready for my next chapter, and that was SilverThorn Reserve, which I'm very excited to say is off to a great start. Very early in, like we've only been on the market for 6 months, but I'm very pleased with how the whiskeys are turning out, the reception, and really kind of stepping back into those early days where we're a couple person operation and we're looking to grow something new.
Real quick question. Greg Snyder commented, ask him if he knows Jim Moorhead.
I do know Jim Moorhead. He's great.
Greg commented here, and I'm sure he'll come on later, but he was a good friend, dear friend in the industry. And that I think the founder, he said something about was Under Armour or something. So, but asked if you knew him. So yes, Greggy knows him.
Yep.
And so your barrels now, the product that you've got, are you working with Sagamore on your product or anything at all? Are you partnering with them to help your brand? Or are you separate completely?
Well, from answer is almost yes to both of those. So as an entity, I'm completely separate from Sagamore, completely independent businesses, product lines, separate companies. But I do still work with Sagamore. So I still have a great relationship with everyone there. I have a long-term storage arrangement where my aging barrels I'm storing at Sagamore aging barns, and so I run all of my maturation out of their aging barns, and then I do work with them for some blending and processing activities as well.
Okay.
But my DSP is housed at a separate distillery, which is where I do the final blending and bottling and shipment, and that's out of the Old Line Spirits in Baltimore City as well. So I'm dueling across a couple of locations.
So are you distilling new spirits, or is it just completely blending already aged whiskey?
No distillation. So it is. We are an NDP. We're sourcing from across the country. I was fortunate enough to develop a lot of relationships over the decade, and so we are able to work directly with a lot of distilleries around the country, and so sourcing everything. Really, you'll see our products. We're the space we like to be in is this like 10 to 14-year-old whiskeys that we're working with. So most of our products are either age stated 10 or above, or are 10 with older whiskeys blended in. And so that's all coming from other distilleries.
So the 2 years that all of a sudden these last 2 years where a lot of stuff has changed have been very obviously this should have been, it's almost like, you know, everything that I know about that market that you're dealing in is like all the barrel, there's a lot of whiskey on the market, there's a lot of reduction in prices, so that's been probably decently, like when you wrote the business plan for this, it probably, you weren't, I don't, were you counting on the industry like slowing up as it is, where there would be, instead of, there wasn't a lot of aged whiskey, you know, just 3-4 years ago there wasn't a lot of aged whiskey on the market, and now 3-4 years later there's a lot of aged whiskey on the market. You know, and I guess I would say that technology and everything and how much of the production and all the stuff that's happened, it happened pretty quick, a lot quicker than I thought it would. Even, you know, it could happen quick, but what I thought would be quick isn't as quick as it happened. I mean, how fast it happened. So has that been kind of beneficial for you as far as to obtain stuff to make better blends and better, you know, like you said, you're dealing with those, you know, 12, 14-year-old whiskeys, and that's a lot of times what I found that, and you know, people who are blending, they were doing 6-7-year-old whiskey, and for the same price they're pulling off a lot the older whiskey and able to produce something a little bit, not, I don't know if it's always better, but they're able to do exactly what they want by using some aged whiskey.
Yeah, so I think certainly the environment for what I'm doing is better now than it would have been 3 years ago. I will say that within this, what I would say is a bit of a recalibration of the market. So it had gotten a little exuberant, and I think it has now corrected that somewhat. But within what I'm doing, there's a lot of this. The glut in whiskey isn't a glut in 10-year to 14-year-old whiskey. That's still something that, well, it's a little come down a little in price. It hasn't come down that much, and there isn't a ton of it out there. That still moves quite quickly. Where you see I think a more of a stalling and a higher quantity of whiskey is in the 5 to 7-year-old range, and it's really, I think, the whiskeys that were getting laid down pre-COVID and during COVID exuberance at the larger distilleries. They really, I think, were producing all out. And as that period of exuberance calmed a bit, they found themselves with a bit of a surplus. So it remains to be seen whether that 7-year-old surplus can resolve itself before it turns 10. And in 3 years, there may be more 10-year whiskey on the market, or the market may clear in the next year or two, and 10-year plus whiskey remains hard to acquire.
Okay.
So let's go through like of your lineup, because like you said, you have 10-year minimum. That's the minimum product that you have. But let's start with, what bottle do you want to start with, and let's talk about it and kind of talk about how that comes about, because I know the Blue Label, which is the bourbon, that original bottle that you came out with a few months ago was not the same blend, correct?
The original Blue Label?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a limited release that we came out initially back in the very beginning of the year, which was a Boo Rye. It was a bourbon and rye blend, and that still is available online, but we're not distributing it in retail anymore, and
Okay.
we've moved to this bourbon blend as a more permanent fixture in our portfolio. So it will be. I mean, they're all small batches. I mean, there was 8 barrels in that batch, so this is batch 1. There will be a batch 2. It'll also be 8 to 10 barrels, but that one will be around for a while. And
Let's start with that one, Jeff. It's A.
It's what?
A.
A?
A is an apple.
I don't have an A. I have X, Y, Z, and
Oh, wrong one. I'm looking at it. Sorry. X.
he's like, I'm like, what's going on?
I'm looking at the bottle. I just see the bottle. I thought it was.
I thought you were the Fonz. A.
A. So minimum. So this. Am I right? This bottle won. Did it win at San Diego? Where did this, or San Francisco? I mean.
Yeah, it did well. So it got double gold. It got a 98-point rating.
He said it did good. 98.
It got a 98-point rating, and it's a finalist for Best Small Batch Bourbon of 2026.
Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
We froze.
Oh, we're here. I noticed he was breaking up a little.
Do you guys have me now?
I have you. You're still
Okay.
here. CT froze.
Oh,
Yeah.
You back?
I hear you, but I can't. You're still froze.
Yeah.
It's all right. It happens. People's internet go from time to time.
Yeah.
Sometimes he might have to go out and come back in. We'll see. You could keep talking about the. All right. So yeah, there you go. He's come. He'll come back in. Or he'll tell me, he'll be like, "Send me the link again." I hope not. There.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying before he jumped off, it's a finalist with 3 other bourbons for the best small batch bourbon aged 6 to 10 years of 2026 at San Francisco, and they will announce in November the winner of that. So we get to patiently wait a couple more months and see how we actually did.
Okay. So initially, so you went from Denver to Maryland, right? That's kind of what you were saying.
Well, I never lived in Denver. I was always in Maryland.
Okay.
The company I worked for had been based in Denver, and they relocated to Maryland, and that's when I joined them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the East Coast is kind of picking up a little bit of steam. There's honestly, there was one. I had a couple guys who were out on the West Coast and then came to Maryland, and they did American single malt. They were known for their American single malt. You probably know them, but I mean, it's like, do you guys in the Baltimore area and Maryland area, in Washington, do you have like a distillers guild there with everybody kind of?
There's a Maryland Distillers Guild, and actually the distillery that I have my DSP at, Old Line Spirits, they focus on American single malt. And they've been for about 10 years.
Okay, so that's Old Line was who I had on. I had them on probably a couple years ago for the American single malt.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
All right, I'm back.
How are they? They're doing good?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. They're doing great.
Yeah, they do American single malt. So, yeah, I think that category for a while kind of like first it came on and then it kind of not flatlined, but just kind of what would you say, plateaued. And then now you can sense it's coming back again. The American single. It's like at one point I think people will really appreciate it. All right, so we're back to where the tasting. You know, we delayed as much as we could so that you could come back.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Good. Technical difficulties have been averted. Okay, so we're on to the
blue one.
We're on the blue label.
Yeah.
We're on the bourbon. Yep.
And he said that he talked about that this year it's up, right, as far as the small batch from 6 to 10 years, and you guys are waiting you're patiently waiting, right, to find out.
Yeah, till November. That's when they'll announce the winner of the category.
Wow. Well, 98 scoring is pretty freaking awesome. I mean, I
was pretty happy with it.
I was gonna say, don't seem so excited about it.
Yeah,
but that's
right.
Awesome.
Yeah, but it's I'm very happy with how it turned out. It's a bit of a unique product, and really everything we're trying to do has some form of twist on it for the most part. But this bourbon it's a blend of 3 different mash bills, and what I think of as the base. So my approach to blending is establish a base and then flavor it. And so the base for this is 10-year-old Kentucky bourbon. I'm not allowed to say which distillery because I'm under an NDA with that particular distillery, but it's a 10-year-old Kentucky bourbon. The mash bill is 74-18-8.
Thanks.
And from there you can probably figure out where it came from. And then adding to that, we have one 14-year-old 4-grain bourbon, which is from Georgia, and it is an 80-10-5-5. So it's got a little bit of wheat, a little bit of malt in it. And then I think what adds distinctiveness to this is high malt bourbon. So there's 2 barrels of high malt bourbon. It's a unusual mash bill. You don't commonly see it, and it's 51 corn, so as low corn as possible. 15 rye, 34% malted barley.
I know that. We know that mash bill too. Do you have an NDA for that?
No, you got a bottle on your.
Yeah, we're just talking. Yeah, right there. Yeah, I mean, Greg, the distiller there. I mean, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I've met him, talked about it, and what he did there with that was so unique. And then went out and started a brand, and people, it never. I don't know if it gets the. I mean, like you just gave what you're using to blend credit. It's basically a malted barley bourbon. You know, we talk about wheaters and we talk about rye, and it's always a big thing. And now we have this. You know, you have this one, and it's a barley bourbon, and people don't even know what to do with that because how many times I think he was the one that did it. So yeah, that's really nice.
Got a really good mouthfeel to it too. It's got a nice velvety kind of palate, which I like because definitely as you get older, that's something. And again, you said there's a 14-year-old in this.
There's one 14-year-old Georgia.
It's definitely not over tannic or anything. You don't get a ton of oak. There's a little bit of oak, but not. Yeah, definitely not oh my God, it's overpowered with it.
It's really cool. I mean. So you went over that, and it's kind of like, I swear to God, it's like a pinball machine. It's like you taste this, you taste that, you taste this, you taste that, you taste this, and then it all comes together in there's a nice sweetness to it, vanilla, a little bit of caramel sweetness to it, and then it finishes with that. You pulled the 14-year-old oak finish of a lengthy finish. It's like I took a sip and I was just like, I could taste that. Oh, I could taste that. I could taste that. But it's it's there, but then all of a sudden it goes boom, 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 and then it goes sweet finish. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I always felt that we've got John Rumpy doing the Blood Oath, where he buys barrels from everywhere, and the same thing of what you're doing. I really think the playground that you're playing in, and with what the barrels and when people you're taking some of the best of the best of the and you're putting it together and making this blend. It's unique, but it's also what Scotch has been doing forever. In over there, it's kind of like Johnny Walker is all the different, like, you know different distilleries from everywhere they pull, and then they make blends. And here we were so fixated on bourbon for such a long time, right, where it's got to be this and this, and now you're doing this. And I really think you can make some really special whiskey and bourbons.
Yeah, no, this is I see the range of creativity in taking this approach expands a lot, right? So like most distilleries make a couple of mash bills, and it's all from the same distillery, and so not to say that there's not a lot of distillers making absolutely beautiful whiskey out there. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying, as a blender, being able to take things from different distilleries and put them together in a new way that no other single distillery would is a creative opportunity, and one that I enjoy. And I just want to go back and say I love that you had the background on Mets, and we're already familiar with this mash bill, because I talk about this product a lot, and a lot of people are not familiar with the mash bill. It's a bit obscure, and certainly not that Greg Metz was behind it. So I appreciate you bringing that up, and very much appreciate that I have access to some of these barrels to do what I'm doing.
Well,
that 34 barley for me is always kind of fruity. I get a lot of good fruit flavors. We talked about it the other day. Strawberries, there's just a lot of nice fruit notes that come out of that. But for sure, most people associate that brand and him with the 95 5s and all that kind of stuff, which are good in their own way, and they make a great blend. We just did a blend with a brand here locally and used a 95 5 in a blend with a bourbon, and it married together beautifully. Like it had a lot of spearmint and mint, which I liked to a point, and it mellowed it out. So, sometimes it's just crazy. I envy you for being able to do what you do, because I do that at home a lot. Yes. I take these bottles and I'm like, what would makers be like with this? And you're like, oh, that worked, or that's terrible. So
you could, with something with
funny. I do the same thing myself. Like even with these products, like I'll blend the bourbon blend with the rye blend to make a boo rye, and I do like 75 bourbon, 25 rye, and still do this.
Yeah, so in other words, the only way you're getting that is if we come to your house.
Go ahead, Jeff.
So when you blend these, I noticed with the little bit of research that I did, are you returning, like, you do the blend and then put them back in barrels, and then talk a little bit about that.
So this is something where I liken it kind of to marination, where you let flavors combine over a longer period of time. And so the approach here, which we can do because we're doing these very small batches, it would not be, I think, feasible at a larger scale. But we once we establish what the blend's going to be, we dump all of the whiskey, blend it together, then return it into the same casks that it came out of, so that it can basically have an extended blending period. And those barrels go back into the aging barn, and they are at cask strength, or whatever pretty much everything we do is cask strength. So they're at cask strength. And so essentially what you have in the barrel now is what's going to go into the bottle. And you can monitor it in the barns and sample it. And what you are sampling is your final blend at its final proof. So you really are very confident with what your final product is going to be and when you are ready to package it.
Do you?
Yeah, and you nailed it, because at a small scale you could do that, which is enjoyable. But on a large scale, holy crap, that would be next to impossible.
Well, if you were going to go large scale, you just do small scale many times. Because that's how you would do it. And you would have all those intricate things happening, and people would be like, and then everybody would want all the releases, and you know what I mean? You just have this release or whatever. And, honestly, you're talking about aging barns. Do you have a specific place in the barn you like to put your barrels, that it's going to age it the way, or are you putting it in all different places in the barn?
So I mean, all different places depending on what is going on with those barrels. So I'm fortunate enough at Sagamore that I've got racks on all 6 floors and have the ability to be intentional about what I'm aging where. Once I've done a blend and then I'm putting it back in the barn, I keep that on a low floor to have as little additional aging would impact proof changes as possible, and really just let it marry.
Okay. And anybody who's done anything, like one time I did a decanter of all my Woodford double oak bottles that were down like this and put it together. And I put it all together and I took a sip and it tasted like not anything I ever tasted. But then you let it sit for a couple weeks or a couple months or whatever, and you go back and then it tastes like Woodford Reserve double oak, the blend that you got. You know what I mean? And that people don't realize that when you put whiskey together instantly in a blend, it doesn't, like you said, it's got to actually become one actual whiskey, and it takes a while for that. It just, if you put it all together and then you bottle it, it's like there's a lot of stuff that didn't happen that should have happened, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think as I, across my sensory sampling, you get a more cohesive pour when it's had time to fully integrate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's next, CT?
Let's move on to the port finish, the red bottle, which you have there.
Oh, this one?
Yep.
Okay.
The one.
Beautiful.
So tell us what this is, Drew, that so everybody knows what we're drinking.
Yeah, sure. So this is a 10-year age stated blend of a high rye and a low rye whiskey that was then finished in 10-year tawny port. So the mash bills are, it's a 95.5 rye, that's the high rye. The low rye is 51 rye, 44 corn, 5 malted barley. So there's a higher corn content in this. And then I have a very, what I would say, unique approach to finishing, which I developed over time. And what it is I condition the port barrels myself. So to just walk through the process real quick, we take the 6 barrels that were in this blend of whiskeys, we dump them and blend them. That leaves those barrels empty. I then take my favorite port that I have already done lab blends with, and I put about a gallon of that port in each of the barrels. And then I built a device that essentially sprays that port into a mist across the entire inner part of the barrel. and then I seal the barrel and I pressurize it with CO2 up to about 6 or 7 psi, and then that forces that port mist into the walls of the barrel, and that is the conditioning process. Then I take the whiskey blend and I put it back into those conditioned barrels and throw them back into the barn to further age.
How long do you leave them pressurized with the port mist, the gallon of port mist, right? You mist the whole gallon right in there.
Yeah. So basically, it's a stainless rod with an aerator on the end of it. It blasts the port up, and then once you do that initial blast, you seal it and run the pressure up, and it's an hour or two, really, just to let it set up, and that's all there is to it. And then the whiskey goes back in, and then it further ages for a couple of months. The reason behind this, just a little background, because people have been port finishing things for a long time, and it's like, why would you do that? So the reasons are, it's very hard to get port barrels that you have any transparency on, like what port was in it, how long had it been in it, what's the history on that barrel, what were its storage conditions and transit conditions to the US, etc. And so what will often happen is you can get a port barrel, spend 6 weeks in a sea container on the ocean, and that port can oxidize. The port can actually become vinegar and have or the barrels can be treated with sulfur like a lot of wineries do, and then you now have sulfur impact on your whiskey, which you absolutely. So there's quality variability in sourcing port finishing barrels. And then the last part is the oak. So a lot of port barrels are barrels that didn't really hold port for the duration of the port's aging. They were conditioned themselves with port in Portugal. And so then you don't really know how old the wood is. And what I found over time is you run a risk of either getting off port or getting too much double oaking of your in your secondary maturation, and too much oak ruins a fortified wine finish, in my opinion, and certainly oxidation and sulfur ruin a finish, and because of that unpredictability, I developed this method to be able to control everything. So like I use a very high end, like $35 a bottle, 10-year port for the finishing that I selected across many different ports that I really liked to marry with rye particularly. So I can control that. And then I know the wood is good because it's the barrels that I just dumped the whiskey out of, and it's 10-year plus spent oak that isn't going to come back and double oak anything. And so really it just gives me control over it, and I think leads to a more polished product.
Well, and consistency for you, because if you're going to keep bringing that bottle out, you don't have to worry about the barrels changing. Each shipment you get's different.
Yes.
Has those nuances that you may not like, and you're trying to find a way to get them out of there.
Absolutely.
The thing that's surprising is the 95.5 for me comes out, and you get that mint finish. That spearmint is definitely there, which I like a lot. It's got it. This one definitely takes you on a little different journey than the bourbon does. The bourbon, while it was delicious, this one kind of starts a certain way, and you're like, okay, and then another way.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
the high corn, you know, that the high corn aspect of this brings out the caramel. So as far as there's a lot of there's some very popular brands that do port finishing, and it's not everything that you described. I could say and agree with completely based off of, but the fact that you're picking now, do you like that port to the point where that's the wine you like to, port wine you like to drink just as a port wine, or is it what you picked up because of the rye?
Well, I didn't drink it before. I discovered it as a part of basically lab trials and marrying flavors with rye. But I will say that after having discovered it, it is very delicious to drink on its own.
All right. Well, let's
Well,
move on to a rye.
the last thing I want to say is just the balance of this to drink this. The fact that you pick up a little bit of that port wine initially, the what would you say, the it's the sweet sour taste of the wine of a port, that's right there, and then the caramel fills in so nicely, it's almost like you've created a bourbon or a finished port. It's a bourbon, right? The finished port bourbon.
It's a rye.
Okay,
it's
a finished rye. But you've created the wine version, the subtleties of wine. You've got the subtlety of a wine into it. There's no harsh flavors. It's all kind of that nice, smooth, or easy kind of thing. But then there's caramel and there's everything that you want based off what you just were trying to achieve. You've achieved it.
Yeah, that was like being able to achieve that balance. So, for example, I'm using less port than you might often get in a port finishing barrel, right? Because a barrel itself, just in the walls of the barrel, can hold 10 plus pounds of liquid, which so the port barrel could have over a gallon just in that. And this lets me control the quantities so that it's not over porting it. Like I'm shooting for balance in this, right? So it opens with a bit of the port impact and then smoothly transitions into a balanced rye finish, and that really was the design objective of this.
Good.
So
you get it. You hit it on the head. What it felt like the journey was.
to get to that point, where experiences or whatever that you like trial and error kind of things. That's one of the guys on YouTube was asking what kind of experiences led you to come up with this final product. You know what I mean? Where did you come up with misting the inside of the barrel? I mean, was that just were you like you woke up one morning and you're like, I'm gonna mist the inside of the barrel?
Kind of. I'd been finishing whiskeys for a long time and had a lot of experience with barrels that didn't work out. And that kind of forced me to say there has to be a better way. And when you're at a larger operation and you're doing 50 finishing barrels going into a batch and a handful of them don't work out, you can absorb that and exclude them and still have a wonderful finished product. When you're working with 6 barrel batches, if even one of those doesn't work out, it's a more meaningful impact.
Yeah. Yeah.
And more recognizable. Like to the palate, you can't hide it.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, so it's like I needed. So basically, I just challenged myself to say, all right, you need a better way if you're going to do this consistently in a small scale and at a high level of quality. And then my engineering brain kicked in, and I started just ordering parts and building different prototypes for this device until I found one that worked.
That's cool. Very cool. Well, let's move on to the rye because if I'm not mistaken, the rye you did not have in your original release, correct?
So the rye was just released more recently. It too is intended to be an ongoing part of the portfolio, and we'll have future batches of it. This rye, again, having worked with rye for a long time at Sagamore, and I love rye, I wanted to put a twist on it. And so this rye is maybe different.
Z.
What's that?
Sorry, Jeff.
Oh, yes. Letter C.
Z.
Z.
Oh, C. So I wanted to come up with a bit of a unique take on rye. And so this rye, I think, it downplays kind of the black pepper notes and some of the kind of, I think, more what some people might think of as harsh flavors in rye. And
It doesn't smell like a rye.
Yeah. So this is the thing. And like, I got a lot of bourbon drinkers that are like, I don't drink rye. And I'm like, try this. You might be surprised. So what this is the base. Again, like I said, I like to build a base for a blend. The base of this is half low rye, half high rye. And all of those barrels were selected for having characteristics that are not overly herbaceous or peppery, and lean more into I think gingerbread, graham cracker. There's like some vanilla icing in here. It's got some very I think unique spice cakey type things going on. And onto that base, I brought in a 13-year-old 95 rye. And that is to kind of ground it with what I would consider to be a very like classic rye. It brings in baking spices. It brings in a little maturity. And then kind of the twist to this one is the last barrel is a double oak. So there's one double oak barrel in this out of total 8 barrels. And that double oak barrel was actually double oaked for 8 years. So it's a very rich barrel. So it was 2 years in its original barrel and 8 years in a secondary cask. And so what you get with this, or at least what I get when I drink it, is up front, it's sweeter than a lot of ryes initially present. It comes across a little bit like a spice cake gingerbread house type thing in the first half of the palate, and then it slides into a kind of a sweet oak finish, and that oak is coming from that double oak barrel.
I will say front palate sweet, like you said, and I pick up those, the gingerbread, a little bit of that vanilla icing kind of thing. And then as it goes mid palate, there's no spice. It hits the back of your throat. It's got a really nice hug, which like from a rye, a lot of times it's so spicy on the back of your throat, it kind of overshadows but that's not there. And then before I pick up the oak, like you talk about on the finish, I pick up the spearmint or mintiness of a rye, which lets you know definitely you are drinking a rye. I mean, the nose, I will say there's a lot of flavors in there, but if you didn't tell me this was a rye, I could think this is not a rye. But then when you drink it, it definitely has some of it's a really complex. Yep.
It's that 95.5 always leaves that little bit of mint on the finish. It's it's always there. But
yeah, but it's not a 95 barrel that he just got from a spreadsheet from
Right.
MGP.
No, but I mean,
It's
that is
it's
his
definitely a barrel that is designed to be in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
beautiful.
the way that the nose is just, I'm not kidding you. I could smell it all day. I don't even need to drink it. It just smells. This thing has so much going on the nose. And there's a little bit of we talk about cola, but
Yes.
for me, this has a cherry Pepsi more. There's a difference. And there's a little bit more to it than just a cherry cola. It's almost like Pepsi has to me, it's a little sweeter, not as
The difference is it's like it's a cherry Pepsi with bourbon or rye in it. It's just
right.
like it's a spiked cherry Pepsi. Not, sometimes when you're describing those flavors of cherry or whatever, you're pulling them out and you're absolving yourself of that it's in alcohol. With this, it's like you don't have to. It's like it's the cherry Pepsi spiked all in one.
Yeah, it's got, and that's really good.
It's complex.
Yeah,
and
that cherry cola note is coming from those low rye barrels that are kind of in the base of the blend, the 51 ryes. They have, if you drink those as a single barrel, like they can get like
what a
really cherry cola.
What a home run though. I mean, to be able to blend that and then throw in that 13 year that obviously anytime you're getting them up in that age, if they're good, they're really good.
Yeah.
Well,
that thing's, wow, that's yummy.
So in my prior life, I was a commercial artist and I've done some fine art. And I've always...
You in your previous life? How the hell is that possible?
Well, I'm now a recycling plant manager. It's a totally different...
recycling plant manager in your previous life.
What? Anyways, what I will say is people don't a lot of people who drink whiskey or this type, they don't realize what kind of, it's almost like as a blender you have it's a symphony. It's like you have so much to choose from, and you are obviously you're not like, okay, it's a band, because a symphony would mean you're using, maybe a lot more than the kind of barrels. You've reduced it down to a band, but different types of bands. You know what I mean? So you might have a string quartet one time, a rock band another time. You're just using. It's like, but people don't realize that whiskey making and blending is very similar to art, music, that type of thing. It's all tied together because it's a culinary experience. Yeah. And
I completely agree. Like I view it as a when I think about whiskey, you think about the fermentation process, and this is mostly a biological process. So like where you want to have it's scientific, it's biological. You want to, how you handle your yeast, the temperatures that you ferment at, your conditions, like this is a biological process. And then you move into distillation, and this is a mixture of chemistry and engineering. And so like you're taking that fermentation that the biologists produced, and you are running it through a machine that at a certain speed and a certain temperature to create a balance that gives you the cleanest extraction of ethanol. Then you go into the aging process, right? This is where a ton of things happen to the whiskey that are somewhat in your control and somewhat out of your control. Just barrel to barrel, the wood differences can change the whiskeys very meaningfully, even from the same batch of distillate, even in the same racks in the barns. Then you get to blending, and this is where you, I think, nailed it. It's basically a culinary art. So it's all a sensory process. You're evaluating everything, and it starts from like an imagination of a flavor profile that you want to try and achieve, and then it's a trial and error process of making different recipes until you can marry the flavors in a way that get to that vision. And it really is like it's all sensory,
Well,
and
it's
trial and error.
it's like different guitar players in a band. All of them play the guitar, electric guitar, acoustic. They all play them different. They all have their whatever, and that's kind of what each barrel is. It's a different guitar player. And then when you're basically tasting those barrels, you're auditioning them throughout their careers, and then you basically like, I'm hiring you today, and we're gonna make this awesome song, and that's kind of
Yeah.
like what you're doing, and the possibilities are endless, but also there, you're basically, there is a guideline to pop songs and or different types of music, but the whole world right now is at a point in their they want those subtle kind of cool things, because all of our palates have matured, and so we love the nuances and the differences that are happening. Whereas when we first got in this, there's a bunch of people who didn't care about nuances, because all they wanted it to do is basically be bourbon. They didn't. And when you talk about finishing barrels and you talk about double oaking, I mean, double oaking in itself, they say, well, it's double oak. I mean, there's about 1,000 different ways to double oak it and come up with so that's one thing that, like anything else, there's a million different notes out there to make music. It's the same thing. And people don't realize a lot of times the artistry that goes into it, but also, as far as us as tasters, not so much drinkers, we love the experience that you're providing. So that brings us into Z. Are we on? What are we on?
Well, we're gonna move on to the last one, which is Y. I
Okay.
didn't do these in order of the alphabet, by the way.
Yeah,
Just so
obviously.
everybody's aware of that. I just put the damn stickers on them. What they were is what they were. But question before we move to this, Drew, is so on. Let's say like the rye blend. How long did it take you through the process of blending those, playing around with it before you actually came up with that blend and you were happy with it?
It takes a couple months.
No kidding.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Wow.
one, you can only drink so much whiskey. So
Yes, dude.
Cheers
I
to
mean,
that.
it turns out to be a lot, but
Oh, yeah.
still so much. But yeah, so I because I think back to the kind of the analogy of auditioning musicians for something. There are a lot of musicians out there, and I've got walls of barrels, and I'm trying to get it down to a profile of 8. And so the different permutations that you can create in a blend become quite vast if you have 100 barrels to choose from to find 8. Now I have different just kind of processes that don't let me go down that rabbit hole of doing like 150 different tracks. But I probably did 20 full different separate blends before landing on that rye blend. And it's a matter of different testing ratios first, and once you feel good about your ratios, then specific barrel picking to fit into that formula.
All right. Well, let's go on to bottle number 4. I think is the single barrel. This is the only single barrel in the lineup currently, other than maybe a previous release, but this is the current one. 13 years. Tell us a little more as far as what it is proof, and because I can't read that label. Holy crap.
Sure. So basically, yeah, like portfolio wise, the bulk of what we're doing are these like small batch blending projects that, but at the same time, we have this single barrel series, which is the part of the portfolio where when we find something that just is standalone excellent, that we want to showcase as a single barrel, we put it through this part of the portfolio. And prior to this one, we had a 13-year-old bourbon that was in the single barrel series. And when that sold out, we did a 13-year-old rye, and there will be different ones in the future as well. But this particular one, I believe you have barrel 5. It is a 13-year-old 95 rye. We acquired it through Templeton, originally distilled at MGP. So it had aged for many years in Iowa after leaving Indiana, and it's a batch in like these February 2013 barrels I really liked, and so we brought a handful of those in, and then within those picked some single barrels. This was one of them, barrel 5, and then some of them are going into like the rye blend, for example. This barrel in particular I liked for its distinctiveness. So while it definitely drinks like a rye, it has some notes in it that I don't always find in 95 ryes, which I enjoyed in this. It gets into some fruits.
I get currant, raisin,
There's a little cocoa in there, even like it's different.
It's got chocolate. There's even a little like I get like a little red jammy fruit note across the middle bit, and it still has like it's not super herbaceous, and by that I mean like heavy dill or celery or any of those notes.
You mean those horrible notes? You just said it, dill and celery. I mean, you don't know how many ryes I've taken that I can't. It's so off-putting to me, right? But I can dump that into a bourbon Mary, instead of a bloody. I just basically make, because those notes make sense with tomato juice, and then there's CT who's out on that.
Do you know the only worse profile than dill and celery in a bourbon is? If you ever get it, it's the worst. I'm just going to tell you. Radish.
Oh, yeah.
I've never gotten radish. I will say, what
we
about...
haven't yet, but when we do, we'll know.
What about salsa? Do you like a salsa? I picked that up in Texas bourbons. A salsa flavor all the time, like it's a tomato spicy pepper thing. I get that but anyways, let's go back to this. So in other words, your single barrels are well thought out because you're just going.
We don't do a lot of them. Like I'm handpicking all of them, and when I do 100% sensory analysis on every barrel that we get. So everything that comes through, I hand sample it, I run analysis on it, I profile its flavor characteristics, and log that so that I have this like library for blending purposes, and I also have a library for single barrel purposes, and so we don't do a ton of single barrels, but when I find one that I think makes some sort of a statement, like it's really good, but it's also just not totally expected, then that'll go into single barrel category. And I felt like this one kind of met that criteria. It's got a lot of different flavors going on, and not all entirely what you would expect.
This would be good.
What's your plans on? So like you've come out with basically 2 type batch releases so far this year. Do you have a set schedule, or are you just going to kind of let the barrels and the market kind of dictate when your next release is, or do you already have that kind of?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what, again, to to kind of frame where we're at, like we launched in January and it's June, so we're 6 months on the market. Our intention is that we're going to have somewhat of a core portfolio, which will be a bourbon blend, a rye blend, and that port finish. And then we'll have the single barrel being more of a rotator. And then we will, in the future, drop limited release items. So you've got like kind of a core 3, that single barrel rotator, and then some end of year like drops that are just one and done type drops, where we can continue to have like innovation and creativity, but we are having some level of consistency across that core portfolio.
And how many states are you in right now?
Oh, we're in one state, which is Maryland.
And on the internet.
And we're in one city district, which is Washington, D.C., which they would love to be a state, but not quite yet. And then we're on, and so that's it. And honestly, that's like, it's probably that for 2 years. And then from there, we, assuming that scaling didn't impact our quality and business model, we might look to move into a couple other states. But we're very much a Mid-Atlantic, East Coast for now. But I would say if we did look to expansion, among all of the control markets, Ohio would be high on the list.
I think that if you were to look at how will I put this?
I'm gonna make a blue rye while you're talking.
Mark Carter has very, very good what would you say, distribution plan. He does batches for states. So that would be something that I definitely think would be you would just be able to go straight right into that. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to do the batches to supply everybody and go bigger, just go smaller and do special batches per state that will take you.
Yeah, that would be when we get there. That would be the approach. Like we're not going to change from doing 10-barrel batches to doing 100-barrel batches. Like this would just completely undo what we're doing.
Take you back where you were.
But for us right now, just we're self-distributing. We have like a wonderful group of retailers here in Maryland that we want to provide a high level of service to and really do right by our backyard market before we even contemplate going into brick and mortar retail outside of this area.
But if somebody watching this, they were like, man, I really want that one. It hits the notes. I want to buy that. They can go to your website and you do distribute to states, so they can go on and buy it and get it shipped, correct?
No, yeah, absolutely. So we ship through we have web fulfillment through Washington, D.C., which makes us available in 40 states. So okay. You can buy through our website in most states. There's some control states, some of the southern control states don't allow for it, but Ohio, you can buy us. Indiana, Illinois, like all across. But like I think Alabama, and Mississippi, and Idaho, and Utah, and maybe Maine. There's states like that are control states that are more rigid. We can't ship to.
Well, it's good that Ohio at one point was more rigid, but the people in control actually lightened up, and so we're not as rigid.
Yes.
So that's good to know. And you're perfectly positioned with the place that we're not as rigid, through Washington, D.C. It's like that place. that is anybody who's shipping there. I know that we can get it.
Yes. And this is a convenient thing about my location is I live 1 mile from Washington, D.C., so I can quite easily deliver to our fulfillment company down there.
My daughter-in-law is from Baltimore, and so now that I keep meeting so many people from this area, I'm gonna have to go visit her family with her one time because that will allow me to get out by you. So that's something that
Well,
would
let me know
definitely
when you're coming.
for
I'd
sure.
love to show you around.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is a great step in the. I mean, I can't believe 6 short months. It feels. We had to start talking about 2 months into the process, and so that is crazy that it's this short a period of time, and now up and running. And
So what's this last one you gave me, CT? The cigar, the pick.
that's not even anything related to this.
Well, why was it in the bottle? In the
I
bag?
wrote on it, so you,
No, you put
listen,
it. That was in this bag.
And I specifically told you, but you, like usual, do not listen. Where's your wife at? Let's ask her.
She's sleeping.
You do not listen. Listen, Drew, he has 2 phones. And if you text him or call him on one, he won't answer. And so I have him in my phone with both of his phone numbers. So I text both at the same time.
It works.
And so Roxy's like, that's a great idea because he doesn't answer her either. So, Jeff, I'll tell you what that bottle is later. It has nothing to do with
No,
it.
I didn't know. I thought that was part of it, but XYZ I should have made.
Are you drinking it now?
Yeah, it's good.
Well, that's a boo rye.
Okay. So last thing, a burai. What
Yeah,
that is
that's
something that is.
by
Wait.
The folks at High West, I believe.
Okay, but I'm Drew. So when you mix a bourbon and a rye, and you call it a burai, right? Which is something that's happening in the blending world. It intrigues you, obviously, but doesn't it, based off of whatever your blend is, it then becomes a bourbon or a rye because it just depends on the percentage?
Technically, so.
It's a hard question. I'm sorry.
Here's the slope.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to stay out of the rabbit hole on this, but technically it becomes neither a bourbon or a rye, and it becomes like a blend of straight whiskeys. As far as like TTB categories go.
Yeah, it's a whiskey.
Okay.
Yeah, it's American whiskey.
But so it can qualify as American whiskey.
Okay. If the rye didn't come from Canada.
Yeah, that bottle you're drinking, Jeff, is labeled as a whiskey. That's how we had to label it because again, you can't call it a boo rye because High West trademarked that some years ago when they came out with their boo rye, and nobody else is allowed to use that without their written or monetary consent.
Yeah.
So then you should just call it a ribo.
Oh boy, don't do it. But no, Drew, I appreciate you taking the time. This has been great to talk not only old and definitely we don't want to dwell on that, but I think it speaks a lot of who you are. And for people out there, when I told people, I'm like, we got Drew coming on and they're like, all right, what's the brand? And I'm like, oh, I'm telling them SilverThorn. And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, have you had Sagamore? And they're like, oh yeah. So I think that for people around here, there was a lot of popularity with that brand. So knowing that you had a direct impact with it, and you can tell that with SilverThorn Reserved, it's that your palate and your passion for this is what people looking for, that quality, looking for something that's stepping out of the box a little bit, that's that's a very, very specific and well put together product, they're gonna want it. It's different.
So tell everybody how they can find you and get it in most states.
Sure. So, I mean, I would say if you're interested, come to our website. You can drop your email into we've got a whiskey group. Drop your email in there. That'll put you on the mailing list. That will give you, like, I'll send out a newsletter kind of to that inner circle with like pre-releases, advanced access to things, and any new batch releases, all of that. You're first to know, and I always like to do kind of a not on the main web pre-release for those folks, and they also get special discounts. So that would be a good way to stay in the know on what's going on. If you're looking to try any of our bottles, you can buy them straight through the website. If you're outside of the Maryland, DC area, and we 2 bottles and more, it's free shipping, so we cover all of that. And yeah, I hope you give us a try.
And on that same note, Tiny and I would be totally happy if somebody locally in Ohio wants to try it. They have not tried it. We have these bottles. More than happy to share it with you. If you don't know before you buy it and you are willing to meet us somewhere, I'm more than happy to give samples out. So if you want to try it, meet us somewhere. You can try it before you order it on your website.
Yeah, for sure. And then, honestly, what you're doing as far as blending is spectacular. I would suggest it. Anybody out there, if you like certain, if you like port finished bourbons, this is one you're gonna want. And as far as any of what we've tried, but I honestly, Drew, based off of the fun that it does, that my palate experienced tonight, I would seriously suggest anybody out there just grab something off the website or grab a couple bottles off the website, get some free. You're not going to be disappointed. It's just that simple. It's like what you're doing is artistry. So just keep it up and go from there. Now, so we do afterwards. We do kind of an after party kind of thing with anybody watching wants to come on and ask you questions. But if you need to go, let us know and we'll let you go. If you want to stay on a little bit after.
No, I can answer some questions.
Okay, and then just as CT knows, anytime because these guys will stay on and they start whatever. Anytime you need to go, just say Drew. I know you're just like, I'm gonna go and see you guys and bye. But CT, he just basically is gone. He'll just be like, peace out. There's nothing. Where did CT go? So, anyways, all right. So I'm gonna finish up the podcast. Thank you so much tonight for coming on. We really appreciate it. Mad respect. It's just like everything, CT gave me the samples this past weekend when we were together, and then I had the bottle, but I waited to taste it with you tonight and was not disappointed. So it was fantastic. Thanks.
No, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We got Glencairns, we got t-shirts. You guys all know that. And then also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X. And then also you can listen to us on Spotify, iHeart, and Apple. Whether you listen to us or you watch us, make sure that you leave good feedback anywhere that you're listening. Become a member. Top Shelf Kirk, who will be on in a little bit. Thank you for your super chats. And remember, good bourbon equals good times and good friends. Make sure you drink responsibly, don't drink and drive, and live your life uncut and unfiltered. And let's see.
And if you leave bad feedback, put Jeff's name on it, not mine.
all of a sudden, where is it? Oh, well, there you go. The Scotchy Bourbon boys will take us out. I'll do it this way. And I'll reset it. Let's do it. Here we go.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on some scotch. We get a little wild, but it's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, we talk sunshine, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon boys, raising hell and making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy Bourbon boys, we're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun. Yeah.
All right, let me send out the invite. For some reason, I lost the comments. How did I do that? It always throws. That's crazy. All right, we're just going to reload the whole thing. All right, let's see what happens. Then I click that. Okay, now I have.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to. Okay, well, I turned it
So,
down.
Drew, while we're waiting on everybody to come in, so tell me about there was a brand that is no longer in Georgia that you were getting some barrels curated from. What I don't know that I know that brand, so I'm trying to understand what it is and what they were about.
Sure. So it was Ivy Mountain. They were, I don't know exactly when they started. I think probably a little before 2010. And they unfortunately did not survive COVID. So their business shuttered, I think, in 2021. And I think part of it was one of the founders had health issues, and I don't want to over speculate as to why they closed.
Right.
A lot of things went sideways during COVID. So whatever it was, in 2021, they shut down, and their inventories were acquired. And one of the groups to acquire them was Bardstown Bourbon.
Bardstown, yeah.
And then also some made their way to Texas. But I have a relationship with Bardstown and worked with them, and that's where I ultimately came into those barrels.
So you got them through them, not directly from Ivy. Okay. So in Texas, would it be like Garrison Brothers that picked them up?
Possibly, I'm not positive on that. I'd have to do a little research on. There was another brand that I wasn't as familiar with out of Texas that was selling them. I'm spacing on the name though, unfortunately.
Right, but yeah, it's just rare that you know. When I read some more about that, I was like, wow, you know a lot about northern Georgia distilleries. And for one to have that kind of aged product just sitting around, ready to go and then go defunct, kind of crazy because they were right into seemed like the heyday. Like you waited all that time, you're getting ready to bank.
Totally, yeah. And again, that's why I don't really know all that went into why they closed, but yeah, and honestly, I hadn't been familiar with them until I started this venture and started kind of digging deeper into what was in the bulk market, and then I learned more about them after enjoying some of their whiskey.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Well, so Greg Schneider, who was on earlier, sometimes he joins us and then I don't know, but he actually distilled for Chicken Cock at Bardstown Bourbon Company. That's where I initially met Steve Nally and Nick Smith, sorry. And that's kind of like, it seems like your whole melting pot of area of where to pick up stuff, you've got an expansive network.
Yeah, I mean the industry, maybe yes, but also it's not that big of an industry. So, I mean, I know the folks at Old Elk, and you've got Middle West up there, and Bardstown for sure, and yeah, I mean, I've met a number of folks, and honestly, working. You mentioned Jim Moorhead earlier, and there's another like absolute legend, Larry Ebersalt, that we worked with when we were setting up Sagamore, and
Yep.
we've made a lot of introductions over the years as a result of being connected with folks like that.
Yeah, and Greg mentioned Larry earlier in the texting and stuff that he was commenting. He was like, "Yeah, Larry Ebersol, yeah, that 95.5," so definitely brought him back to some of his memories, because Greg's been around the industry long enough that he's had the privilege of being around so many good people and worked with a lot of these guys. So
yeah.
Well,
yeah, honestly, we were very fortunate as well. We're starting that up. Like our teams were initially trained by Larry and by Jim, and between them they had 70 years of like absolute top level experience in the industry. So it very much gave us a fast start.
what do you think the whiskey bourbon industry is like where you're at on the East Coast compared to the Midwest? Like, what do you think it's a lot different? Because like Kirk's out in the wild West, he's out there, still shooting from the hip and riding until the the sun sets. But what's it like? Because the East Coast is still far enough away, we don't get out there that much. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, I think, in the East Coast, we have lots of bourbon clubs. We have lots of people that are very engaged in this, as far as producers go, I mean, Kentucky is still the epicenter by far, but I think the Maryland scene has grown tremendously in the last 10 years since Sagamore started, and so like we have I'm going to throw a number out, call it 40-ish distilleries in Maryland now, which
wow.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like we have a full guild. It's I think a nice part of what we're doing here.
I would have never thought 40 out of that.
Well, I mean, Pennsylvania's coming online with their rise. There's a lot of distilleries there. And then, so me and my wife went to Philadelphia, and then we stopped in, we went to Stolen Wolf, and then we dropped down through Maryland into Washington, D.C., and then we went to, George Washington, Mount Vernon, because I've always wanted to go there. So if this would have been an earlier podcast, I probably would have stopped and saw you. I would say the only thing that I didn't like about Maryland and Washington, D.C. is the traffic. There's a lot of traffic going up and down the coast, isn't there?
It's terrible.
A lot of people going through smaller spaces, that's for sure. But anybody who came on, you guys have any questions on the brand?
I'll start it off here because I like to talk. You guys already know that. But good job, Drew. If your stuff that you're going to put out now is anything like your Sagamore expression, it's unique. It really resonates well with me. It's a distinctive flavor, and it's got a lot of complexity. I enjoy that. If I do a blind with anybody, I can pick out Sagamore each and every time, just about. And I like it, because I come back to it a lot. But anyway, us guys out in Montana, the Midwest guys, there are a lot of beer drinkers out there, but it's pretty hard to put a bunch of beer in a saddlebag when you're going elk hunting or something like that. So bottle really works nice, and we pass the bottle kind of thing. But keep up the good work out there, Drew, and keep doing what you're doing. And I'll definitely get online like I usually do out here in Montana and buy these different expressions. I always call them expressions versus spirits. That's another conversation. But and I live in a haunted house. I don't know how that works, but anyway. But good job. We appreciate you. I appreciate watching Scotchy Bourbon guys and getting quality distillers and people like you on here. Really resonates. It puts the word out to the masses. I'll be following you like I do others, and I'm looking forward to you doing some pretty neat things, sir.
Right on. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So do you have a cigar blend that's be coming out here at some point?
I'm going to tell you right now, he's not going to side with you, Matt, on that stupid A word.
I was going to say no,
because
Amberana.
Listen, Drew, does Amberana belong anywhere in bourbon? Yes or no? In your opinion?
It's not my personal taste.
I told you.
But there's such a range of palates out there. Like I don't prescribe what people should enjoy or not enjoy. Taste is a very personal thing. But it's not mine.
we have this conversation often because Matt, unlike
loves Amberana.
He doesn't like sleeves on his shirt, but he also doesn't like
white beater shirts.
He likes sleeveless shirts and he likes Amberana. So I don't know where that puts him, but the rest of us are like.
In defense of Matt in a sleeveless shirt, today it was 94 degrees out here in Ohio, and it's
I have a shirt on at all.
and right now at 10 o'clock it's 81. So.
It's still hot out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, it's 88 here still, dude. It's cooking in Chicago.
Yeah, it's been crazy. So
we're roasting.
I use that Rio and the Ambriana, and it's usually just Rio. That's the best one. That's what I introduce these younger kids that grew up with my boys that are now in their 20s to bourbons and whiskeys, and most of them just love it, and then all of a sudden after a while they change. But there's definitely a place for it. There's a time for it too. I mean, an Ambrana with a medium rare steak is off the hook good, So
you got to get into Ripple Rye too next. Ripple Rye is my go. I don't know why, but I've went through 3 of those.
I like Drew's answer.
So Drew, if you were gonna do a cigar blend, you would leave that out. And what would you use a cognac or anything like that as far as finishing?
I do love cognac. I feel like that could be a good way to go for me. Of the things we did at Sagamore that were I thought distinctive, like the cognac finishing. We did some Calvados finishing that was quite nice. But yeah, I think cognac might be what I'd start the base of it with.
What your skill set is, you technically should do one, because the balance that you're able to come up with is amazing. I mean, seriously, you were telling me all those flavors, and they were just bouncing. I was like going through the distilleries in my head, and they were like a pinball machine. It was like there, boom, 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 and all of a sudden they went together and they finished with that oak, and it was just it was a cool experience. I mean, and that's kind of what people are looking for when you're talking about a bottle that is going to be different. And like I say to everybody in different states, there's no reason for anybody to try and compete with, in my opinion, with anything in bourbon with Kentucky. I mean, Kentucky's got that down. They got the caramels and the whatever and the vanillas, and but the rest, there's so much more in bourbon to experience, and every single state kind of has their own, especially if the grains are coming, but you're blending. So that's cool that you're just taking you're a USA bourbon.
Yep.
Here's a little bit of bone for you. So usually us cigar guys, and I enjoy a good stick. I definitely do. A big 60 millimeter, I'll spend an hour with that thing in a good pour or four. Usually for us older guys, I'm 54 now. Usually what got me into cigars is remember my grandfather, great uncle or something, sitting on the porch and actually burning a pipe. I've never seen a label with a pipe guy in a side view with a pipe in it. Maybe somebody out there needs to do the pipe blend. Probably won't sell a bunch, but you might be the right size right now. And if the other masses together are pretty good, that might be something.
I love
Do
it.
an Armagnac one.
Oh, yeah.
What's that, Matt?
An Armagnac blend would be perfect.
Armagnac might work well with the pipe.
Totally.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of Calvados. Like I there's not too many places that do Calvados barrels, and I've always been a big fan of those. And not everybody is, because Starlight here in Indiana, Southern Indiana, they've done so many different blends. The Huber family, they're big on all those different barrels. And they're the ones who really started the cigar batch as far as what we saw here in the Midwest. It was big. Mm-hmm. And they used a whole Ambirana barrel instead of using just the chips or the chains. Yeah. But I'll never forget, Jeff and I were with the state of Ohio doing a pick at Starlight, and Ted Huber pulled me aside and he's like, "You got to try this barrel. It's my favorite barrel in the Rick House." And I'm like, "Favorite barrel in the Rick House?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they're all over here. I go over this way. It's a Calvados barrel, and the state picked it. It was fantastic. Yeah.
Chris, does it look like this?
Very, very much so. Yeah, I've got it sitting over there, but man, they're so good. It's just different.
Yeah.
And different is good because there's an occasion. You know, you brought up Kentucky, and everybody's got the caramel nose, and then the palate on the caramel and the chocolates and everything. It's just a spinning carousel of the same stuff over and over, which is there. But when people start talking about some fruits or stewed fruits or plums or raspberries or strawberries, I get intrigued because I've got hundreds of bottles around here that taste like caramel. So I love the diversification.
Yeah, you drink a 10-year-plus-old Barton and 15-year-old Barton. I mean, it has that same nuance of a Kentucky, but boy, I can't imagine if you added a 34% barley blend into it. Oh boy, you know, now there's that fruit note starts coming. There's where that strawberry kind of pops out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome that you get to be able to do that, like have that playground to just kind of mess around with it. Like you said, it takes months to put together a blend, but man, that'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I find it very satisfying. Like it's a creative outlet, and like I love making things, right? So even outside of bourbon, like I make furniture, and I work on my own car. I like very mechanically inclined. Like all of it kind of comes together when you're running a small distillery business. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the creative outlet piece of it is unique, and I think highlighted in this particular.
Yeah.
Well, you sound a little bit like me. If you want something done right, you just do it yourself. There's no substitute for experience, and I get tired of paying people. It's like that value's not there, you know, kind of thing. But so I love what you're doing. I like it.
Yeah, I do a lot myself. Like even distribution, we don't use a distributor here in Maryland at this point. Like we're self-distributing everything because I want to have the direct relationships with the retailers and not have that layer in between us, and be able to get to know the customers through the retailers. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of our approach. It's really very hands-on.
Well,
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit like you. If I had somebody out there distributing for me in sales, and I'm a salesman for a steel company, but if you're a hands-on kind of guy or whatever, I don't want a resume coming across Indeed and then we hire them and then just let them loose kind of thing, because I don't think that works. People want authentic now. People don't want lies. People want empathy. They want to know the real deal. So you're doing that.
Yeah, I very much agree. And I especially in the very early days of like getting a brand out there when no one's heard of us, right? So like I'm very grateful to be on shows like this where we can tell our story firsthand. But we've only been on the market for 6 months, right? And
Wow.
most people have not heard of us at all. They're like, SilverThorn, who's that?
You're in trouble because I mean, seriously, you're 6 months into this, and there's going to be it's going to get out. I mean, honestly, for what I tasted, and you start throwing. I mean, yes, you're putting it into the spirit competitions, but Minnick or whatever's going to pick it up and just it's gonna go. I mean, there's no doubt the complexity, the artistry, everything comes through. I mean, it's impressive. I would say out of all the brands, I taste a lot of brands and they're good, but this is probably, I would say, I want to say it's, as far as 2026 so far, you definitely, I think actually in my 7 years of podcasting, your brand and what you're doing is the most, it's surprising. I want to say surprising, but that's not even it. It's not what and then to meet you and understand what you're doing, I would say authentic. It's the most, what would you say? Mature. It's mature. There's nothing about it that's new. I mean, you're right there with high-end, well-aged bourbon from a person who's producing a palate that understands his market, but he also understands the direction where the whole industry's going. It's just, it's phenomenal.
Never go too quick, that's for sure.
I mean, but your ryes are great. For anybody out there that doesn't think they like rye, you need to have some SilverThorn, because there's no way. It is just everything that you want whiskey to be.
Jeff, you said it earlier, and it's absolutely the difference of going to a restaurant with a chef who knows how to put together your meal and cook it the right way, to prepare it with the right complements to make it the ultimate meal. And that's absolutely what this bourbon and whiskey is like, is because Drew has the experience to be able to take it and say, well, you may not like this by itself, but if I add this to it and I do this, it's going to elevate it to where you're like, wow, that's really freaking good. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I think Jeff's right. You're in trouble because you may not want this to be it's bigger than it is, because it's nice and it's your baby. But I think you're going to get to a point it's probably going to have to, the wheels are going to come off a little bit.
Well,
it's
impressive. Among the problems that I could have, that's not the worst. But yeah, I mean, I appreciate all the kind sentiments. We are like I said, happy with our first 6 months. Excited about what is to come, and really just kind of staying focused on doing these small batches to the level that we can achieve. and that kind of hands-on piece and owning our backyard and having those direct relationships and mostly like as I was saying before, the brand being new, people's first impressions of the brand, like we didn't want to hand that over to distributors or other companies or get too far away from where we are in the initial production of the brand, because it isn't a complicated brand. We didn't have a lot of confidence necessarily that others would do it justice for first impressions.
Well, yeah, I get it. I mean, in the state of Ohio, the people who do the best are once they're here, then Ohio offers you to come here and everybody meet you. And if any, everybody anybody I've ever met who gets and understands what bourbon and whiskey is about, it's like it's the glue for people to get together and have a good time and make bonds and friendships and talk about something that they all have different opinions because everybody's palate's different, right? So honestly, I find that what you're doing is 100%, you know what I mean? That, as you keep going forward and just keep doing it. But also, like you said, stay close to your brand no matter what. If you're introducing it into a state and whatever, it's like you're going to go there and people are going to meet you. And when they see it on the shelf, when it's there, they met you. I mean, there's so much when someone walks in and they're like, what do I buy? New people or whatever. But if they've met you, you're just in their top, you're in their top of what they're going to choose. Because why would you choose something, even though it would be, some people have stuff that's good, but if you're going up against that and they met you, they're going to choose you because you're doing it the right way. They're going to choose you. So 100%.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference there. CT used a good analogy. The food service industry, you can go to just about every restaurant. There's 3 different food trucks dropping off to those different restaurants. They're just all preparing the same food a little bit differently. That same food truck might be at a higher dollar restaurant, but it's also going to the nursing home or something like too. And that's not a problem. That's not a problem, but I'm trying to seek out the authentic. I'm trying to seek out the different. I'm trying to seek out what you're doing. If you're hands-on that much, never ever lose that. You will grow, and some of that other stuff might be that's a well one for mixers or something like that. But please don't ever lose what you're doing, because even the Sagamore stuff that you did, I just love it because it's different than everybody else's stuff.
Well,
It just is.
And I think you said it, you're still a little bit involved with that, right?
I mean, I'm not working on behalf of Sagamore anymore.
Right.
I stayed with them for quite a while after the sale to facilitate a smooth transition from my role to honestly to the folks that had worked for me before. But so I'm still, like, I'm eating lunch every couple of weeks with people from Sagamore, so I'm connected, but I'm not in any way
right,
really,
but somebody might ask your opinion from time to time.
Oh, we have a circle of colleagues.
Yes.
Merit is
That's
never,
it, but
merit is always earned and never ever given. And there's a background there behind you, which actually props you up for what your next venture is. So, that was my thought.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's the way it should be. If you ask to do what you're doing now and get the transition, it's probably exactly how pretty much most people would love for their transitions to go, and it doesn't always work that way in this industry.
Yeah, no, for sure. So it's a credit to Di Serrano, which is the company that came in and acquired it. and their approach to taking on a new business. And I think also to their desire to have a smooth transition for the whole team and maintain the team that had been there. So, Sagamore was able to have a ton of continuity throughout that process where, depending on your acquirer, often it's like a slash and optimize approach, especially if you have like private equity coming in, or the many different versions of being acquired. This was not that. This was very much about the product, and
this is more like the Beams and Maker's Mark Centauri acquisitions, not the Wilderness Trail acquisition. Which, it's just everybody has a different way of doing things, and in the end, in ownerships or whatever, that's one thing, that they always want. I'm sure when they were getting ready to sell, they were getting assurances to some extent too.
Yeah, no, I think you're like the kind of beam makers analogy was a nice one, in that like the integrity of makers was maintained across that.
With more money, they had to be able to do
like a more stable situation, and
Yep.
like where there's opportunities to expand, you have the resources to actually do it. So in a lot of ways, it's a very good situation for Sagamore.
Yeah, you could even say the Penelope acquisition by MGP. I mean, same thing. I mean, they
Here's
want
your cue, Matt.
I think they're still doing the same thing they were doing before. They just put it on more about value.
Yeah, but that's exactly what Drew was talking about. It's like instead of 6 to 10 barrel batches, he does 600 barrel batches, and it's like I've talked to Danny about that one, and it's just kind of like he's living in a different world. But that's you have to be so excited to be able to do what you're doing now. And you, like you said, you're happy with the first 6 months, but as you keep going, people, it's as an artist, you love the support, and that's what hopefully as you keep going, I don't see it. If you keep doing this, I think everything you have, once the word's completely out, I don't think you keep anything on, it'll all sell. I mean, it was fun tonight, and I know you probably gotta take off. I'll give you a off if you want, because it's getting late.
Yeah, I mean, I probably got 15 more minutes.
Okay.
Like, if there's more questions or anything else we want to cover, I'm happy to hang around for another 15.
What did you have any pours tonight?
What was I drinking?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I saw him.
yeah. I'm actually drinking the 13-year single barrel rye, batch 5, the same one that you all have.
I think that was why.
Take some of that, Tiny.
There we go. Yep.
Bottle wine.
Yep. He starts off with A. I'm like, what? What is going on? You gave me XYZ.
John, you got anything, or Cleveland? Are you chiming in, Matt?
I haven't tried them yet, so I'm looking forward to it, because we're doing the cigar and bourbon event on the 25th. So I'll have either Chris bring them to the event, or I'll just go to Chris's house afterwards and we'll drink it. But yeah, I haven't got to try it yet.
Yeah.
Jeff had them, and I'll see him a week before that. So
Yep.
I'll be able to try them here too.
I'll bring them to Chicago.
Great.
Come on, Rick. What's up?
Try them too.
Rick's on summer break. He's a school teacher, and I can see he's been working out just a little bit.
Yeah,
Got his pump on.
I'm doing curls.
Drew, can I ask you a little bit of a question off topic? I'm a history guy, and on the historic preservation here in my county and live in a historic home on the National Register. That piece to your left behind you is really, really, really catching my eye. What's that about, or do you know?
I do know. It's one of the few things that I have from my grandparents. It's a lamp, which I should move it up a little bit.
Okay.
There you
That's
go.
what I thought.
A
Is it
globe
silver?
lamp. It was a piano lamp from like the 1920s. And that's the bulk of what I know about it.
Okay.
Like it's pewter, silver plated. I found it to be like super unique and loved it and hung on to
Everything you're doing, Drew, is resonating with me more and more. I'll be following. For
So,
sure.
so did you ever think of making a still out of it?
Yeah. There's not enough metal in there, bro. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
We need to copper it up a little more to make good whiskey with it, but
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I'll hit up your website tomorrow. You're not out here in Montana. You got quite a few states to blaze a trail through before you get out here. But I'll be following. And if I'm buying one here after I get off, I'm 2 hours behind you. 3 hours. Yeah, 2 hours behind you. It'll be the one you just showed me. That's the one you're drinking if it's available.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Drew, you said you sell through internet to Illinois, correct?
yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
That'll work. All right.
Well, don't forget about him trying to circle back with the MCT's gone or whatever, but I'm sure you know this. It'd be nice to talk to Drew here in about a year or
Oh yeah.
18 months and
Oh, yeah,
follow up on
definitely.
this stuff because the questions will really start coming then.
The success of 6 months to a year and a half would be great.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd love to come back. So and yeah, it's rapidly evolving. So I do think that a year from now,
You sound to me like a guy that likes to get out of bed and go to work in the morning. It's still work. It's a job. I get it, but there's that. So
No, Drew said earlier he was hands on. He's got his hands on all of it. Which when I tuned in, that's awesome.
And so how many?
I think
How many?
I was in the Asian barns earlier today pulling samples. Like I was delivering whiskey to different retail accounts on my way back. Like I'm all over it.
How many
That's so
employees
cool.
are working with you?
I mean, technically 0 employees.
It's all you.
Tractors, I get it.
Okay.
Love it.
I might be an employee, but then I have one kind of field sales partner here in Maryland and DC that they're on a commission basis, but not technically an employee at this point. So we're like that early.
So you're contracting to do stuff like bottling and stuff. Are you going and bottling and labeling, or is that through?
No, I'm doing that also. Yeah, I mean, with the help. So I bottle at Old Line. They have some of their team that helps with the bottling, but like I myself and then people that I bring also help with the bottling. So there's no part of the process that I'm not like actually touching.
I understand.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You'll probably have to find somebody to trust along the way, Drew.
Yeah. When we get to some point, but right
Hopefully, I'm
now,
not overstepping. You got a son or a daughter?
I have a 7-year-old who's got some years ahead of him before he's ready to.
Yeah. It's just like my
You'll be 21 before you know it.
my 11
from experience.
my 11-year-old grandson is I've been feeding him pictures and videos because he does some really kind of cool edits, right? And then he got in trouble the other day because he's like, he tried to say, but he's like, I made this TikTok account because Grandpa told me that he wanted to do edits. I'm just like, I didn't know he was going to make a TikTok account. My daughter's like, what are you doing? And she kind of gave me some whatever, but he has talent for editing. He doesn't. He'll do seconds, like 1 or 2 seconds of each one, and then he puts it to the theme song or whatever. And I'm like, that's actually good, because when I'm doing it, I have to at least get 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 15 seconds, because I'm experiencing it all, because I want to show people what I'm doing. He doesn't care. He's like, 2 seconds of this, 1 second of that. And it's just like, and I'm like, that's actually really good. And I try to do it, but I still can't do it. It's always like 3 or 4 seconds.
Jeff, in the age of technology, working with kids, like, you take any 8, 9, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, they'll figure stuff out. You give them a week or two,
Yeah.
they're just geniuses on this.
Well,
stuff. It's crazy.
He's looking for an app now. He's looking for an app that's not on TikTok so he can do it. I'm like, I'll pay for it if you find it.
You know, that is really cool. And my wife said it best one time, because we all grew up. My parents thought, geez, I'm a yahoo, because I listened to Beastie Boys' License to Ill. And I got that thrown in the tape back in the day, or garbage back in the day. I shouldn't have threw away my mom's Avon makeup after that. But anyway, it's a little different thing. My wife said each of these kids, each generation is born for their time. And I really, really think that too.
Every generation
it doesn't make a lot of sense, and it doesn't resonate with us all the time, and we don't understand it, just like our parents did and our grandparents did. But they're born for their time. Trust it.
Yeah,
I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, it's just kind of like it just evolved through communication, and it just keeps getting faster. And everybody always talks, when they get in power, like our generation is now, that somehow it's not good. But but the younger generation is out there living their lives, not paying attention to all the politics.
Yeah. I mean, we're all just a little bit old enough here. Tiny, did you ever think you'd make friends over looking at a screen?
I've always been savvy to this, but not to this point where you get to hang out with people, and and then my goal always is, Drew, like, now that I met you, and it just to go and meet you in person, share a pour, and see what you're doing, for real, instead of just on the internet. But who's to judge the fact that you met this way? If this didn't exist, you wouldn't meet half the people you meet, And
someday I'm going to probably cross paths with Drew. That would have never happened if I wasn't in this technology space right here.
That's the way you do it.
That's expanding my horizon stuff. And Drew, hopefully that'll happen someday. I would appreciate that.
Yeah, no, likewise, and similarly, like starting a business like this couldn't have existed in the past, right? It's like, I mean, the state of the whiskey industry 10 years ago would have been less receptive to this kind of business. So I think the elevation of the consumer's knowledge and palates and interests has made this possible in the first place.
And make no mistake, people talk about the bourbon or whiskey industries falling off a little bit, but these young men and women here, like my son's generation, 22, they don't go in and buy freaking, a Captain Morgan Coke and mix it like we did, or Jim Beam and a Dr. Pepper and shoot that for a night with another buddy. They're looking for the higher stuff. They're already learning from us, kind of thing. So that's how we're evolving. You just can't put out the same old shit that we did for decades. We're in the golden age right now, but 10, 15 years ago, it was the same old, and people started pulling this thing out, probably starting with that B bottle kind of thing. But I love the evolution of this. If I got into bourbons and whiskeys because of my grandfather, and he left me his collection, and I'll tell you, from very little, we would have a Jack or Beam or Turkey or something like that on Christmas Eve when I was a little guy. And he said, if you finish that, you can have a little bit more. And we went through this whole thing, and he left me all his firearms and all his bourbons and whiskeys kind of thing. We got to definitely keep that going. But there was a big fall off there. There was a big rise with the clear stuff, with Miami Vice days and all this other stuff. But the patriotism is on the rise in the country, actually in the world too. That I see, and a lot of us want to drink a spirit or an expression that has some teeth to it, that has some meat to it, that has a story behind it. We're all searching for that in everything in our lives. It's not just bourbons and whiskeys. But anyway, I'll stop here. But Drew, you're doing it right. I can tell by what you have behind there from your grandparents on you, and that you'd work on your own vehicles and that thing. So we'll be following. I'll share the words you and your wisdom with my friends, my people out here out west.
Well, I appreciate that.
And I'm speaking of collections of leaving my grandkids. Did your grandpa have 1,500 bottles?
He had just over about, well, it was pretty close. There's a couple of stuff people reached out to me to say, hey, you can make on this, and we'll take this 32%. And I'm like, I'm not interested. By the way, how'd you find my number? AI is keeping track of a lot of this.
Oh yeah, they're tracking.
Yeah.
So
I'm
those
happy.
bottles I didn't pay for, but I open up stuff all the time. I open up stuff that I remember my great uncles or him opening, or something when we're playing 2 pinochle decks or something like that, or in an outfitter tent. You've seen some of my writings and stuff, John. Elk hunting and 100 miles out in the back of nowhere or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see that bottle, and that I'd rather have that bottle than the Pappies or whatever.
It's way more meaningful, the stories behind it. Yeah, I agree, Kirk. I think that's awesome.
And that's my thing in life, is mixing the bourbons and whiskeys with a true story, that resonates with people, that wants to bring them back to their roots, things like that. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what moves me. That's right in here kind of thing. I didn't go into the military like my son or my dad did and things like that. But if I can leave a mark on the world, it was like this Kirk guy actually taught us something through bourbons and whiskeys. And the story is much bigger than that. It's the stories behind that about being men and growing and patriotism. And patriotism is not a cuss word. It's okay. Those kind of things. That's just me. But hey, I've got a lot to learn. I'm always wrong. That's what you do at 54 years old. You're like, yep.
Well, that's why I love the World Cup, because there's a lot of people coming over here just to remind us when they come over from someplace, then they see what we have. Sometimes we all forget what we really have. That's all. It's just kind of like
tiny 100%. I've been watching those too, and it almost makes you, if you're like me, it almost makes you a little bit emotional.
I mean, I've never seen anybody get so excited over ranch dressing.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, I guess it is a good thing. It's just like I like blue cheese dressing, so it's just
me too.
Yeah, there you go.
Buffalo Wild Wings, but
But anyways,
I think you're right. I love it. And actually, once this thing gets straightened away too, I think a lot of those people going back are going to introduce some of their people to bourbons and whiskeys.
There's no doubt.
And hopefully
Scotches and Irish. Yeah.
And hopefully they
don't go after Rio and leave some for me.
Or Amberana. So there you go. The Brazilians got plenty of that. Don't worry about it.
All right, guys. It's been. We'll let you go, Drew. And I got to get going soon too. So it's been a great night, and I thank you so much for doing this, because it's great. It's been great to know you and get to know you. So.
Oh, I thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's great to meet all of you, and especially this, kind of behind the scenes after getting these conversations. I really appreciate it.
Well, this is going on my back bar, because this is you have some great whiskey, bourbons and finished bourbons and ryes, and I'll definitely promote the hell out of it.
Bring that to Chicago.
I'm drinking that first. So keep that out.
You got it. All right.
Much respect, Drew.
Yep.
Much success.
Yeah.
Thank you, Drew. I appreciate it.
All right. Good night.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Yep.
Cheers. So Jeff, I got a question for you. I want to see if you've ever seen this before. So I picked up 2 bottles. This one's
Oh,
open.
you finished your shelves, you bastard. It looks good.
Thank you. Yeah,
I love Jeff.
Thank you for being a
What the shit?
bastard or the shelf. I mean, you just tell me.
I started saying what the shit lately. God
Yeah, what
dang
the
it.
shit? I say it all. Jeff's got to come out with more cartoons. What? the
I'm working on it.
check this out.
When you come here, we're gonna have a lot of cartoons.
Weller foolproof.
Yeah. One of the
Look at the tops.
what
Oh, cork and a frick. Yeah, what the hell?
cork and screw top?
That's how I came. These are my new ones. No, it's not a screw top. It just doesn't have the gold at all. This is the one I just did my video on. My live was done with this open one. And I picked up these 2 at the store.
Oh, that one's
I'd
lacking.
be worried about
Which
that
one's
freaking
one's
cork.
mine?
The one that doesn't have the plastic on the cork.
Yeah. I didn't notice it when they put it in the bag either. And then I got home and Jimmy goes, "How many of those do you have open?" I'm like, 1. And he's like, "I thought you picked up 2 closed ones." I'm like, "I did. I don't know what happened, but didn't have it." So now I have one that has no closed and this, which is fine. I'm working on another shelf in the other room.
Does it
So,
got wax on it or anything?
I have a question, Matt. Is it still everywhere?
Yeah, they're all over the place, but I'm leaving at 5 in the morning, so I can't go to the store.
For the
You need one, Jeff?
foolproof, he got me one.
Okay.
It's just I'm
I've
gonna.
been all over the place.
He's gonna give it to me when I pick him up to drive to your place.
All right.
Yes, so we'll have it with us.
Yeah, and you can add that to like the 6 I've got, so we're good.
You-
And hey, full Weller 12's coming out too, and they're finally pulling their screw cap off as well. So it's all foil now.
All right, I'm gonna take us off Facebook and YouTube. Good night, Facebook and YouTube.
Later, bros
Yeah,
and
this is-
chicas.
This is number 4 of Triple Ride.
Of course it is.
Well, I've got okay, so listen, bro.
Ah, jeez, you're fucking killing
I'm
him.
off my phone. I got yours here. And you come in.
Okay.
The Ripple Rising Bennies at my place and others, they're not moving. You can just bring several $100. You can go home with a half case. You want Ripple Rise? They're everywhere.
Good night, YouTube.